Well, okay, let's go over the install of the Eeky Squeaky Mobile radioactive radio in 428 Duster's vehicle, a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk. It is the hybrid Trailhawk, so it's a combination of gas and electric. Big concern, would this end up causing a problem with the electric portion of this vehicle? Happily to say, no. We can run full power and have zero issues. We doesn't come over our radio, doesn't affect the cameras, doesn't affect any of the operations, nothing. So, to get started, a couple of big thanks out there to Mr. Luke Miller, Mr. BBI. You will notice throughout this video that a lot, if not most, if not all, of these ideas came from one of his videos, and we will be going over that in a little bit. So Luke, thank you very much, sir. I have learned a lot from you and hope to continue to. Brian Smith, Trucks CB Sales, where I buy my radios from and have him do his magic work to them so that they are walking, talking radios, monster audio. Brian, thank you very much for everything you've done, all the advice you've given me. Do appreciate it. And of course, my amp builder, that's what I call him anyway, Mr. Nick Stong, 757, a Boulder built. Builds some of the most outstanding amps that you'll ever see, in my opinion. They are rock solid and right on the money, top shelf stuff for sure. And Nick, I appreciate everything you've done for me. My collection is still growing, as you know, and thank you for the advice you've given me and the help along the way. And last but not least, our local technician here in Brevard County, Quick Draw McGraw. If it wasn't for him, this installation would not have happened. My wife would not let me tear apart my brand new car. Not to mention, I didn't really know how to tear apart everything in it. And he did it slam dunk. No problems whatsoever. And again, a lot of advice and help along the way. You need any local radio work done here, this is the man to go to. So, without further ado, let's get started. As I told you, Luke Miller, BBI. This is where I learned most of the things that I did for this vehicle. I would highly suggest you go to YouTube. The address is there on the bottom of this photo in red. And bring up this playlist. It's a playlist of 6 videos that he did for the install in his Suburban. An outstanding video, goes over all the steps of installing a radio in your vehicle the proper way. I don't think most people go to the extremes that he does. I know I didn't, but it's impressive. And we'll give you a lot of good, solid advice, from grounding to electrical to the actual installation, just everything on it. Bonding, fabulous. Luke, again, I appreciate it. If you happen to watch this, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff from you in here. So without a further ado, let's get into the 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk hybrid version. This is the vehicle. Yes, I know that those rims are absolutely horrendous. Now that I have finished this install in this vehicle, I can save a little bit of money and get some better rims and tires and make it start looking nice from the outside. There will be a video of this installation after these still pictures is done. So stick around for that and you'll get to see the whole thing being put into use. So the radio that I went with, I wanted to install it in the center dash area, so I needed something smaller than a full-size radio. Went with the Ranger RCI X9 from Brian Smith at Truck CB Sales. He did his magic to it, and let me tell you, this is a rockin' radio. Unfortunately, when I installed it, I did a little bit of damage, so it's back at his shop getting repaired right now. But that's what he does, and he does it very, very well. It'll come back and it will be doing its thing. It is paired up with a 757 Boulder built 8-pill amplifier that the two of them are working really, really well together. I needed a meter in my vehicle, of course, just because I like meters. I usually run bird meters, one in forward, one in reverse. Well, in these new vehicles, as you all know, there is no room for anything. So didn't have room for that, so I decided let's go with a Telepost LP100A. And the original plan was to tear this thing apart and install the monitor screen into the dash, and then have the push buttons and stuff up there as well, so that I could go through it all and make it all nice and clean and kind of hidden. Well, that was going to be a lot of extra work, and that was okay. But during the install, we figured out that the radio would not go where we wanted, so rather than tearing apart this LP100, we installed it where the radio was going to go. So I didn't have to tear it apart, which was a nice thing. The dual band radio, I use this, it's an ICOM. I use this for my MURS and GMRS communications. Of course, the Mars mod has been done to it. This is a nice little radio and works really, really well. Now, to do this radio, the main body sits in the very, very back trunk area, actually down where the spare tire used to go. And the head unit is all the way up front in the little sunglass case of your car. So we had to run some cables that went from the main unit, the brick, all the way up to the head unit. And the ones that came with it were not long enough. There was some concerns about the distance, and there was concern about RF and interference in those. So I got me some Cat 8 cable and figured let's make our own. We'll make one for the microphone, and we'll make one for the connection to the head unit. As you can see, it is Cat 8 cabling. There are 4 pairs of wire. The individual pairs are twisted and wrapped in foil, and there's 4 of those. Then they are all twisted together and then covered with a braid, a steel braid, for further insulation or shielding. So between the twisting of the pairs, then the twisting of all of them, and the foil wrapping individual pairs and the steel braid, the shielding is pretty darn good on this thing, and I have had 0 issues. Took me a little while to find this with stranded wire. Seems like they like to sell a lot of solid wire stuff, but finally found it, got it all working. Of course, we need to have some antennas for all of these things, and I went with Breedlove. I went with the Breedlove puck mount for my radio, main radio, with a ball and quick disconnect option. That is the quick disconnect. I can run a couple of different antennas, just twist them on, twist them off, run it through the car wash, whatever. Wanted a better backing plate, so we ordered that up from Breedlove as well. Heavy duty, and spreads things out a little bit because the roof of these vehicles are so thin, it is pathetic. So there it is. That's the backing plate, and then on the lower right is the Breedlove NMO mount antenna as well, which is for the dual band radio. That's the NMO again and again. Well, power. Power is going to be an issue because I'm not doing alternators and batteries and all of that in a hybrid vehicle. So we went with this super capacitor, and it is a 1050 farad 16 volt super bank, and it works outstandingly well and was a very good purchase. I can key up with the 8-pill on and talk, and it doesn't drop at all. It's really good. I'm very, very happy and satisfied with this. So, of course, we need to make power wires and ground straps and for bonding and all that good stuff. And got all of this I got from Luke Miller, and I went with it and tried to do it in a similar fashion. So we use the cable lugs, and we take those, I put them in a vise and then drill out this front area here, drill that there out, and then we take these and we crimp them onto our electrical wires or our grounding braid, hydraulic crimp, and then give them a solder bath in that, so that we have what Luke calls a mechanical and an electrical connection. Seems to work real well. I'm happy with it, and it's panned out real well. But they're kind of shiny afterwards, and with the braids, that's always shiny, so we got to put an end on it. Anyway, here's how they end up looking when they're finished. This is when they're just crimped, and there we have the heat shrink on them, finish them up, get them all ready. Need coax. Again, Luke Miller, watching his videos, I said, hey, let's get some RG393. That's in that pink bag back there. So got some RG393, expensive stuff. And that's going to be for the CB and the 8-pill. And then I needed some RG400 to run for the dual band. Now, how do you hook those up for puck mounts and make sure that everything is tested, working correctly, and tuned out right? Well, for me, I called up Luke and said, hey, would you do this for me? He said, sure, send it out to me. So I did. And here is Luke Miller working on it in his shop. This is the RG393. That's with it completed for the puck mount portion. That is the RG400 for the puck mount. And it's just the shipping box there. Now, bonding, grounding and bonding. Again, watch Luke Miller's video. Outstanding stuff. Same thing, we hydraulic cramp the lugs on and give them a solder bath. And because I didn't want this shiny silver look on my doors and my hatches and my hood and inside by my seats and things, we covered those up, and you'll see a picture of how that's done here in a little bit. But after we crimped them on, there, as you can see, it's drilled out, and the reflection down there in the solder bath, you can see it's drilled, and then it's crimped on, and then it's dipped into the solder. Get a nice coat on it, and voila, there she is. There it is with our covering on it so that it doesn't look all shiny and jump out at you when you open your doors, the hood or the hatch, or down by your feet inside of the car. They're covered up nice and neat, and use a little bit of heat shrink on that to hold it down too. Then you have to install them. So we went to the car and installed them. I have 2 on the hatch, 2 on the hood, 2 on each door, 2 coming off the puck mounts, running both sides of the vehicle, and are connected to the vehicle in a number of areas. And then they run down the pillars, connected 3 times on the pillars, and then at the base, and then they go to seat lugs. I needed to do this to get a good ground and to get my SWRs down on my antennas. This is a unibody vehicle, so there is no frame for me to go to, unfortunately. First time I had to do that with a vehicle. I've always had a framed vehicle. So just some quick pictures of the install of those. Now, as you see here, every place that they were installed, we used a Dremel tool and we ground away all the paint so that we had a metal-to-metal connection, and then put them, cleaned it off with a brush and then put them on. And oh, by the way, yes, I did go back and paint every one of those connections. They were painted with color matching paint from the from Jeep. I don't know. I found some and bought a couple of spray cans of that. And then after that dried, then we followed it up with 2 coats of clear. So everything that where I ground it down to bare metal has been covered up again, and hopefully that'll help prevent some rust. So that's the deal. And again, advice from Luke Miller, Mr. BBI. Watch his videos. So just some more of those items being installed. Get past that. Oh, yeah, we had to tear the headliner out of the vehicle, of course, to put in our puck mounts for our antennas. This stuff is the roof is so thin on these things, very thin, very noisy. When it rains here in Florida, oh my goodness, that car is so noisy, it's terrible. But we ripped that headliner out, and when I say we, that's Jeff Smith, Quick Draw McGraw from our local Brevard Tech out here. And let me tell you, he knows exactly what he's doing. This would not have happened without him. Jeff, thank you, thank you, thank you. I would have set off all the airbags, cut myself, bled all over everywhere, and my wife probably would have divorced me. So thank you for your help. So headliner's pulled, and start making that dreaded drilling into the roof of your brand new vehicle. And then inside, we needed to rip the entire center dash apart, because that's where we originally were going to install the radio, but guess what? Radio didn't fit. So we ended up putting the LP100 in there, but we still had a lot of wiring that needed to get in there. So that's the center area, center dash area that we ripped apart, and we had to run wiring in there for the LP100, for the remote switch, for the amplifier, I don't know, just different stuff. And making room here in the chaseway so that we could run all of our wiring. We needed to do that in the front, and we did it on the front and back seat areas of both sides of the vehicle. One side has coax, one side has electric wires and things like that. That's the back seat area with it torn out. And there's some of the wires that we had to run. What a mess. But we pulled them all nice and tight and have them tied down at different spots. And it is all very neat and clean, and not in areas where they will be pinched or hit or anything like that. So it turned out really, really nice. Again, thank you, Jeff. And they all come into the trunk area down where the spare tire used to be, because this is where we're going to hide everything at. Yes, it's all going to be hidden. like Luke says, when you're finished playing radio, you don't want to have it all be seen. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, while we had that headliner out, and because it was so noisy when it rained and so hot in there and just noisy period, we laid down a layer of kill mat on the entire roof, again taken from Luke Miller's videos, and this has really been a big help. It really truly was. You see here, there's the two ground wires coming off the puck mount, and they go to either side of the vehicle down the pillars and connected multiple times along the way, as I've stated. There's also two pieces of all thread there. That's to help to hold that brace or the backing plate, keep it nice and tight and keep it from flexing should the antenna hit anything, which it seems to hit everything. I was running a 102-inch whip. I took that off and went with a shorter antenna because I was smacking everything in the world. And there you get a better view of the all thread. And that is in there and then put into place with butyl, and then covered up again, which you will see in a little bit. So there's all the kill mat. And then, like I said, covered up again. Then I did a second coat or second layer with Silis closed foam sound deadening material. And we did that on top of all of the kill mat, ran it on top of our coax, ran it on top of the all thread, and hopefully that'll keep anything from vibrating and making noise and all that good stuff. And let me tell you what, this stuff has made that car much quieter, but it has also made it so much cooler. The insulation of this is wonderful, and things here in Florida get wicked hot. So this is the trunk area where the spare tire goes again, and we have our coaxes ran, our power cables ran, our connections for the LP100, etc., etc. But we needed to have a little shelf to put it on, so we broke out some tools and let's make our own shelf. Let's cover it in carpet so it looks nice. That's the first piece going in. Second piece is in. You see that we have the area there for the supercapacitor and our coaxes. There we're starting to put the items in place. We have the 8-pill in. We have the LP100, I don't know what they call that, module or something. And our power wires, we have the dual band brick set in the back there, and getting it all put in. And when it's all said and done, we put that flooring back in, and you can't see any of it. That is where the LP100 ended up going in the center dash. Wasn't ideally the way that I had planned for all of this, but it's going to work out just fine. There's a door there, so that closes down to completely hide that when not in use, and works out real well. So again, Luke Miller, thank you so much. Brian Smith, Truck CB Sales, thank you. Nick Stong, 757 Boulder Built, the amp builder to all the world, I think. The guy's just great. And my local tech here, Quick Draw McGraw, Jeff Smith, thank you. Now, let's go outside and take a look at the vehicle itself and do a quick video of everything installed and operating. Let's go. Okay, so this is Duster's Eeky Squeaky Mobile. You know, probably going to be a little bit hard to see with the sun, but it is what it is. So that's a quick run around the outside. And then we have I switched out to Stereo Performer antenna because the 102-inch whip just smacked the crap out of everything. And as you can see, it's set up for the Dave made shunt if need be. And there's my dual band antenna. And let's see. So we'll go in. There's some of the ground strapping that we did. The radio ended up having to be here, which I did not want, but again, it is what it is. Sometimes you just have to, you know, deal with things that don't turn out the way you want. So this is the interior of the vehicle. And the only thing you really see is the microphones and the radio. And we can even get rid of the mics pretty easily. The radio, got to do a little bit of work on. Got a little toggle switch here to turn on our goodie on and off. Yeah, I couldn't hear it running, but I'm sure it is. Under here is our LP100. That hides away when not in use. And our radio. Let's see. So the radio's SWR 1.0 on channel 19. Let's go here. Let's channel 1, 1.0. Channel 40, 1.0, and 20 is 1.0. Let's see if when we turn on our amp, if we're getting a little bit of audio check. So 13 with 24 reflex, so I got to do a little bit of work on that yet, but 1300 watts out, and I can't remember what I said was the reflex, 24, 34, something like that. I don't like that. That's too much in my opinion, so we got to do a little bit of work there, but it is what she is. You turn off the radio, you turn off your LP100, you close her down, nobody knows she's there, turn on, make sure you have your amp off. And then when you want to go the other route, you pop that down. I got to take off that protective cover there still. And you have your dual meter. You can get your weather. Or you just go back to your mirrors, and it's one of the repeaters that I use. Works out real well. I like it. It just works really, really good. So I've got an external speaker for the dual band there, and an external speaker, yeah, right there for the radio. And then, well, of course, come in. It's the liner's back in place, so you can't see anything. Here's what I was talking about with the ground straps inside, because they come down and go to my seats. So like this, you can just barely see them. And if I left them all that shiny silver, that would have been bad. And we come back here.
lift this up, and there we have our Boulder built amplifier, the module for the LP100A, the brick or the main unit for the dual band radio, the supercapacitor, and then our wiring and things, and all hidden away when she's not in use. Again, the doing the kill mat and the closed cell foam sound deadening mat were huge benefits. Absolutely night and day difference with the heat inside of this thing. And sorry about that, I'm not very good at this video stuff. So that's the inside. Like I say, little radio's hidden up there, you can't see it. LP100 in the side of there, you can't see it. Toggle switch, he knows what it's for. Just the mics and the radio. And originally the radio was supposed to be where that LP100 is. And then the little screen from the LP100, the display was going to be down here with some of the buttons. So you wouldn't have seen or known there was any radios in here other than the antennas on the outside, of course. But both those antennas can be ripped down in a heartbeat and put away. So now this antenna, I don't know. They say that's a 3 dB gain antenna. I don't believe it. I do have a 36-inch antenna down there by the amplifier and stuff. That is a 6 dB gain that I can use if need be, but I haven't had a problem with that one yet. And this one's doing okay, and we finally got it tuned out okay. But again, I have to say thank you to Luke Miller, to Brian Smith, to Nick Stong, and to Jeff Smith. You guys, this is all because of you. So it's the only way I could have got this done. And I'm very pleased with it. Now we get to get some decent rims so that we don't look like an idiot out there. Have a good day. And Duster, 428 Duster, East Central Coast of Florida, out and about in the radioactive, radio eeky squeaky Mobile, smallest station in the nation. See you soon.